What's up, everyone? I decided to do a little Throwback Thursday post because Bieberall doing so well in the Toxic Cup reminded me that I never got around to posting my Ferocious Cup from back in November. I'm hoping to post a tourney video from each cup of this Silph Arena season, so I hope you enjoy these. If you don't remember, the Ferocious Cup was the first unique one with only four-legged or bipedal animal Pokemon allowed instead of certain types. Basically, Umbreon was king, and then you had to have Charmers to beat it, and then Anti-Charmers to counter the counters, with Water types to fill in the gaps in between, and then Electric types to counter those. My first opponent is Mirandon, and he has a lot of Anti-Charmers, but I still need to use my Alolan Ninetales for his Umbreon. So I'm going to leave with my Umbreon, then the Ninetales, and then Bibarel to clean up against his Anti-Charmers. Biggest thing I noticed about his team is that he doesn't have a counter to water, so I like Bibarel as something that will safe switch. My biggest concern is if he leads with the Alolan Ninetales, because Bibarel doesn't beat it consistently, but otherwise Umbreon should be a pretty safe lead here. And he comes out with Skuntank, which is an even matchup, but I should be able to win it unless he has really good IVs on his. I'm just going to store up a bunch of energy, and I can tank a charge move here. And then he switches, and I go right for the last resort, and then I can make a safe switch during the charge move to Bibarel, and he doesn't shield either of these charge moves. It's kind of surprising, so he just lets his Ninetales go down. He did take out half of my Bibarel's life, a little bit more, and now he comes with his own. And I make a mistake here. I shield his Surf, which ends up shield baiting me, and I should have gone with double Surf myself since he has 2 shields left. I should have tried baiting. Instead, he blocks my Hyper Fang, and I'm not able to get to another charge move. Kind of surprised he used up his energy here to finish me off, but I guess he was trying to count. So I come back with Umbreon, and I had all that energy from earlier. So I have Foul Play ready to go, and I think about whether I can just farm him down or not, but he ends up switching. So I go for the last resort right away, and then I'm going to switch right away to Ninetales because Charm is neutral against Skuntank and chunks it down pretty fast. I do have to block a Sludge Bomb, and then I'll be able to finish it off. And he comes back with Bibarel and a charge move ready, but with such little health on his side, it's pretty much GG for first battle. For the second one, I changed it up with Raichu as my lead. Apply a little shield pressure with such spammy charge moves, and then I'll have Bibarel as a safe switch again. I might have overthought it, but thought he might lead with Bibarel this time to counter my Nidoqueen, but instead he leads with his own Nidoqueen, which is obviously terrible for me. So I get some Water Gun damage in with my safe switch Bibarel, and he goes straight to the mirror. And I go for the straight up Hyper Fang again, not sure if he was going to shield at the beginning. And then he goes for his charge move, and I fall for the Surf shield bait again. And now I'm going to just go for another Hyper Fang, see if he's really going to commit both shields. And he does. So I can take that out of this matchup at least. I'm going to let Barrel go down, but he actually tried shield baiting me again. So at least I didn't waste a shield there. But now I give up switch advantage again, and he has me stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Raichu against Nidoqueen. He resists all my moves, and now I'm just going to let Raichu go down, come back with Bibarel, but he actually finished me off before I can get to that Surf, so I'm donezo here. I mean, I can take an Earth Power, but Umbreon it takes a while to farm it down. I'm going to have a ton of energy coming out of this matchup, but if he has Ninetales on the back, I'm done for, and he does. So just a couple of Charms are going to finish me off. I do get the last resort here, but it's not going to be nearly enough, so I'm going to have to go to round 3. And for that one, I'm going to go back to the Umbreon lead I had in the first battle. And he hasn't led with Ninetales in either battle so far, so I feel pretty safe with that. And then in case he does, I'll have Bibarel as my safe switch, and then Nidoqueen in the back to counter it if he switches out of that. And then he ends up going with Nidoqueen still, so I feel okay with this matchup. I'm going to go for the double up, just overcharge, just in case he's going to switch anyway, and then maybe go for the self-piggyback. And I don't shield the first one. He actually went Earthquake, which is pretty smart by him. And then now I'm going to go for the Foul Play back-to-back, and I do get that before he gets any fast moves in. And then he blocks the second one, and from here I didn't really need to switch there, but I tried catching him off guard, getting his Nidoqueen pretty low with Water Gun. And now I have the energy advantage for the mirror match. And I go for the shield bait that time. He doesn't fall for it. And here, it's really crucial. I didn't fall for a shield bait again this time. And then now I'm going to go for the bait again. I shouldn't have done it the first time since he only had one shield, but now since he's within range of Hyper Fang KOing him, he had to shield there. And then I'm going to shield his since Surf would probably knock me out of that range. And then now I'll go for the Hyper Fang again. Might have been within range for Surf, but had to play it safe there. Get the lead advantage and the shield advantage. And then right when I'm going to go Surf, he has a foul play ready. And with such little health, I hate using that shield, but it was CMP, so I wanted to get the Surf in because I didn't really have a counter for his Umbreon. You even see me check was in the back again. Try to get a little bit more water damage in. And then since my Umbreon's pretty low and I know he has store energy, I go with Nidoqueen. I can take a foul play here. And then I'm just going to go for an Earth Power to finish it off. But then he wins CMP again. And then my Earth Power will go through. And that'll be just enough to KO him. And then he just has his Nidoqueen in the back. And I'm going to make him use his energy with Earth Power here. So now I can come in with Umbreon and get to a foul play faster than he can. So GG. My next opponent is going to be Kermit, and he has a pretty interesting team with both Raikou and Suicune, and he has Bibarel, so double water action here. And he has the one Charmer and Ninetales, but I'm going to lead with the same team as last time, Umbreon, and then have Bibarel as a safe switch, and Nidoqueen as well to deal with the Ninetales. But he leads with Raikou, so this is an okay matchup for me. It's going to be a real matchup of offense versus defense here, since Umbreon is way tankier. And I'm going to block the first wall charge, since those would probably do a lot of damage. And then I'll go for my foul plays. He'll block that as well. And then I can outpace it to another foul play here. And it does a hefty amount of damage, while you'll see the wild charge does a good amount, but not as much. And then I'm going to get to another one, and he has some sort of energy here, so he's actually going to use both shields committed to Raikou here. And then he switches out to Ninetales, so I gotta get out of there ASAP before the charm damage adds up, and then I'm in great shape with Nidoqueen to just poison jab it down and then be in range for Earth Power since he has no shields left before he can get to any of his charge moves. And then his Bibarel is going to water gun me down real fast, but I'm luckily able to get to another Earth Power before he finishes me off, and then he commits with the Surf. And now he's so low, I can just come in with my Bibarel, finish him off, and then I have the shield left for his Wild Charge, and then I can water gun him down the rest of the way. For the second battle, I'm going to change it up to Ninetales lead in case he switches to his own Ninetales, and it would still be fine against his Raikou. And it's actually going to be Bibarel, and this is a pretty even matchup, and in my practice, I realized the best way to play it really is just to go straight Charms and use one shield and have a ton of stored energy for whatever comes in afterwards, and just count on that, getting the shield advantage back to even. And then he comes in with his own Ninetales this time. I do go for the Psyshock and see if I can get that shield, and I do. So now we're even, and then I kind of give up switch advantage here by going to Nidoqueen, but he takes a long time to switch out because I guess he wanted to charge up, see if he can get to a Psyshock on me. But instead that lets me get to an Earth Power right away for his Linoon, and that uses his second shield, so now I can go straight Earthquake, and then that almost finishes him off. And he is able to get to a dig, so I'm going to have to use my second shield here, and that way I can just poison jab him down and then get rid of most of Ninetales' health afterwards, although he does have the Psyshock ready after all. So he finished me off there, but I'm just going to come in with Umbreon and get to a foul play right away to take the match. And then in the interest of time, I'm just going to cut the third win out of here. Go to round 3, where I'm facing Juicetan, who has 2 Charmers and a Piloswine that can beat Umbreon as well. So I'm going to lead with my Umbreon, but have 2 things that could beat his counters there. I just really rely on Umbreon, as you can tell from these battles, and I just feel like it's pretty safe lead most of the time. And then if he does lead with the Charmer, I can do a quick switch to probably Nidoqueen. And then he ends up leading with Piloswine, which can beat Umbreon in the 1-to-1 shield scenario, so it really depends on how we play this. I'm going to block the first Avalanche. I know if I go 2-2 shields, I can win it because I'm a little faster with these foul plays, I think. And he blocks that one, so we're even shields, and I get to the foul play faster, like I was saying. And it'll do a decent chunk. And I'm going to decide to tank the next Avalanche, see how much it does. And does about half of my remaining health there, so being pretty low. I can't take another one. So I'm going to try and get it down, and he gets one more avalanche off with 1 HP left. So I commit both shields and just have energy left over for whatever comes in next. And I'm at the shield disadvantage, but I have the switch advantage. But it's Umbreon, which I didn't bring a counter for. So I go with the last resort and just chip away a little bit there, make him use his energy to KO me or else threaten another charge move. And that was just short of their last resort right there. He probably timed it up pretty well there. So I go in with Nidoqueen because it's a little tankier and can hit a little harder as well against Umbreon. So I can take a foul play okay here. But he still has that shield. So when I get to an Earth Power, he's probably going to block it and then really have me low here. So I'm just going to try and get the shield. And then I'm so low, I decided to go for the switch to prevent getting knocked out with another foul play because he'll definitely beat me to that before I get to another Earth Power. And finally, I'll overcharge a little bit, and it was a mistake because now I take another foul play. I was trying to get a little extra energy for whatever he has in the back, and then finally I use the Surf to finish off this Umbreon at last. And then his last Pokemon is Nidoqueen, which would have been okay if I had more health, but instead he farms me down and then has an Earth Power ready to take out my Nidoqueen. So GG there. Now I come back in the next battle with the same team. I feel like if I maybe played that a little differently, or if he just doesn't expect the Umbreon lead again, maybe I'll do a little better here. And it's the mirror, which goes so slow because we're both so tanky. And it's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't like Ferocious Cup. I'm just going to go straight last resort. Not going to try and bait here. And then you'll end up seeing he goes for the foul play and see if he can bait me. So that ends up being pretty huge in this matchup. Neither of us have great IVs based on our CPs. I know mine definitely doesn't. It's when I traded for when I needed a last resort Umbreon last year. And his is at 1475, so probably not that much better. And now, since I committed a shield, I'm going to try for shield bait myself. Feel like I take a little bit of a chance since he did have a failed bait earlier, but he doesn't fall for it either. And so I'm just going to go for the last resort and try and KO it. But Umbreons are so tanky that he survives that one, and that makes me realize I can survive one here as well. But before I can try and farm it down, he makes a switch to his Grand Bull to try and finish me off with charms. But luckily, I'm able to get to a last resort right before I go down. And he's locked into this Grand Bull now. So I can come in with Nidoqueen and just farm down. I did get him to even up the shields on the last one. And I can take a crunch, even though that's a little more than I expected there. But I'm just going to load up the whole way. And I'm going to go down with one hit. So I'm just going to launch Earthquake here. Probably not the best strategy the way I handled that. But it's okay because I'll get his last shield and his last Pokemon is Nidoqueen himself, and my Bibarel can beat that, no problem. He does try for a sack swap, but it's not going to work because I get the Surf here, gets his Nidoqueen, and even it up 1-1. Now, since the Charmer he brought was Grand Bull, I'm going to bring my Ninetales since it can beat that along with his Umbreon, and he hasn't shown the Marowak at all yet. And I'm still going to have B-Barrel to deal with Piloswine if it's in the back, but he leads with it. So it's a tough matchup here. He's going to get to charge moves way faster than I will. So I'm going to just block a Stone Edge since those would be super effective against me. And I'm just going to try and Charm down, but he gets to another charge move here. I'm not sure if it's only Avalanche or Stone Edge, but I commit both shields. And it was only Avalanche, so not the best call, but now I have plenty of energy, and I'm going to use that Psyshock on his Grand Bull. And I had so much energy, I get to another one pretty quick here, and either gonna possibly KO it or get a second shield. And they do get the second shield, and then he farms me down. So he has a lot of energy, but Bibarel can almost finish off with just a couple water guns, but does have to eat a crunch. But Bibarel's a decent tank here. And then his last Pokemon was Umbreon. That's why he had to commit both shields to his Grand Bull because he couldn't face the Ninetales, and I'm just gonna chip away with Surf, do as much damage as I can, make him commit some energy to knock me out, can't just farm me down with Snarl. And now my Umbreon has a huge health lead. Even though he has a little bit of energy here, it's not gonna matter because I can just last resort him all the way down with no shields left on either side and move on after a very tough match here. We did face a little bit of lag at the end. I get that dreaded weak connection, which scared the hell out of me because I had this match clearly won, obviously, but I wasn't launching my last resorts. And finally, it comes through, and I'm gonna finish him off. And it was also scary because around this time was when lag really started popping up around online battles for Pokemon Go, and my last round I had to do from the car because of the time differences. We couldn't really find a time that would work, and I did this battle on the road in a car as a passenger, of course. And I'm facing a team with a Charmer and Ninetales, then two anti-Charmers, Nidoqueen and Lyron. But Nidoqueen's not a hard counter, so I feel okay leading with Ninetales. And then if he leads with the Lyron, I'll have Nidoqueen and Umbreon in the back. And he ends up coming in with his own Ninetales. So in this mirror match, the way to play it is just not use a charge move, because that one turn of using a charge move that gets shielded puts you behind in HP. So I'm just going to shield this and then charm him down and have energy to hit whatever comes in next. And I decide to just go with the harder hitting Ice Beam because it has stab behind it, but he goes with Vaporeon. I could have probably waited to see what came in and then launched it, but I was worried about getting knocked out with all that wasted energy. Can't come in with Nidoqueen, of course, so I go in with Umbreon, and then as he made the switch, luckily I didn't use my foul play yet, so I'm able to hit a last resort there. And then here, I probably should have just switched to Nidoking because I don't want it going against the Vaporeon. Instead, I just chip away with last resort, and then I have to eat one myself here. And then I finally decide to switch. Not doing it during the charge move might have given him an extra snarl, which is not great. I can take one foul play here and just chip away with poison jabs and then try and get his shield with earth power, or knock it out ideally, but get his first shield finally, and then chip it away a bit. And then he comes in with Vaporeon with loaded energy, and I'm close to another earth power, so I decided to block this, but he wins CMP there, or he had two Aqua Tails ready, so that was a waste of my last shield. And then I come in with Umbreon and get his last shield finally. If I would have got that Earth Power, it would have been huge. Instead, I have to take some more damage on my Umbreon, and then I'm going to try overcharging with Umbreon and then use the foul play to finish off. I probably should have just knocked it out because those water guns added up there, and then he's within range to just foul play me here with the loaded energy on his Umbreon, so good game by him. I stick with the Ninetales lead, but put Raichu in as my safe switch in case I get a bad lead, which I do with the shiny Lyron. After the weak connection, I do the switch, and I can actually win against Umbreon with my IV spread on this Raichu, especially with that little bit of energy lead. I land a Wild Charge, which is huge, because then I'm going to have to shield bait with a Brick Break, and I have to block a first foul play, and I'm going to hope he matches my shields with the Brick Break, which is super effective, but just such a weak move. It's not going to do too much. Wild Charge is more efficient, and he does shield it there. So I can take one foul play now and then beat him to another charge move because Thunder Shock is so quick. And Wild Charge is going to be just short of finishing him off, but then I get a couple Thunder Shocks in to finish him off and win switch advantage here. It's always huge when you have a Charmer or a Razor Leaf user because you can't have it stuck in a bad matchup. So now I'm going to go with Ninetales against the Vaporeon since I can't have it lined up against that Lyron, and just not going to waste any shields here. Just chunk away, and as soon as he switches out, I counter switch, and I can take a Rock Slide okay with Umbreon, and I'm going to be able to outspam it with these foul plays. I go for the double up and see if I can self piggyback maybe. And then the foul play will chunk away, and I get that back-to-back before he can get a fast movement, it looks like, and get his last shield. And then I'm going to use my last shield because I don't want Umbreon to take too much damage. It's my winner from here on out now. I'm just going to foul play here and then have a decent amount of health for his Vaporeon, and I can take an Aqua Tail and get to one more foul play. And he actually won CMP again there. But I'm going to be able to take it low enough that just another charm or two will take it out with Ninetales, and thankfully even things up one apiece. And going to that third battle, I'm going to lead with Nidoqueen this time because it beats either of the things he's led with in the past, the Ninetales or Lyron, and then have my Ninetales to counter his Umbreon, and obviously my Umbreon has a generalist. I'm just hopefully not going to run into a Vaporeon lead because that would be dunzo, but it is Ninetales, which is obviously great since now I have switch advantage. And I go straight to my Umbreon to make sure it's not lined up with his Ninetales. And in the battle of shiny evolutions, Umbreon is the much tankier option. And I decided to go for the double up again, see if I can get that self piggyback. Although it's kind of pointless because Water Gun's a 0 duration move, so he does get the fast move in between there. But it's alright because now I can just farm it down and have energy left. And I'm honestly surprised I wasted shield here because I can take an Aqua Tail and I know that the Ninetales is coming back in. So I do lose shield advantage here, which isn't great, but I am able to get a last resort right away before I go down to Charm. And then I'll be able to come back in with Nidoqueen and farm him up. And then he switches out again, so I go to my Ninetales against his Umbreon. So it's lined up perfectly for me with the matchups. I just shouldn't have used that shield because now I'm going to be playing from behind with all these charge moves he's throwing at me. Because the last resorts do chunk away at Ninetales. Maybe I should have saved that shield for Nidoqueen against his Ninetales, but it's okay because he ends up going for one more foul play, luckily, because he was about to go down. And I have plenty of energy for his Ninetales and can launch the Side Shock. And then I actually thought he shielded that for some reason in my head because then when I came back with Nidoqueen, I wouldn't have wasted a turn going for the Earth Power since he still had a shield left. I would just farm down, and I was really scared that this Side Shock would KO me. But thankfully, it can tank it barely and then finish it off with Poison Jab. Having that close of a match on the freeway was so nerve-wracking, but thankfully this next match was back at home, and my opponent only has one anti-charmer in Nidoqueen, so I feel okay leading with Ninetales and just go with the big three lineup, Ninetales, Umbreon, Bibarel, that has carried me a lot. So I'll have two switch options if he does lead Nidoqueen, but it's the mirror match. So as we just saw, I'm just going to charm it down all the way and hopefully have loaded energy and just have the shield disadvantage, but switch advantage. And we just both charm all the way down. So now it's 2-on-2 with two shields left, and we both go with Umbreon. And I am a little silly here going for the shield bait early on when we both have plenty of health. You don't really want to go for the shield bait, but I'm just going to have to make a quick switch here. I know I'm probably going to lose the mirror match anyway because of the bad IVs on my Umbreon. It's like 11, 12, 13 or something like that. But I'm just going to try and chunk it down and then eventually switch to Bibarel and try and catch him by surprise with some water guns in there. And hopefully his last Pokemon doesn't beat Bibarel. Now, after getting him low enough, I am going to finally use a shield to keep some health on my Umbreon for whatever's in the back. And then he sticks with Umbreon. So he doesn't have a counter to Bibarel in the back, luckily. And I have to take a foul play here. And I'm just going to water gun it down and have plenty of energy for whatever it is. And it's his own Bibarel. So we went straight mirror all the way through. And I'm going to shield bait since he's down to his last Pokemon and has two shields. And he does fall for it. So now I'm going to go for the Hyper Fang and get his last shield, and he's going to try and water gun me down, looks like, but I'm going to be able to get to a Hyper Fang. I do have a shield if he was going to finally launch a Surf. That might have been his only win condition to farm me down and then launch back-to-back Surfs against Umbreon, but I was able to land that Hyper Fang and take him low enough that I can just snarl him down and take the first battle. And I stick with the same lineup. They're the big three for a reason in this meta. That's why Ferocious Cup got a little stale for a lot of people. But he sticks with the same lead as well, and I don't remember why, but for some reason I decided to play this a little differently. Maybe I was feeling like I got a little lucky in that first battle with the way it played out on the back, but I decided to launch a charge move and take the shield advantage this time and give up the switch advantage here. I guess I figured I can just farm down the barrel and have a lot of energy for whatever comes in next, but that chucked away a lot of my health, and he has the Minun. So I'm going to switch to Umbreon since I know I took out his Charmer already. Maybe he had Donphin back, but probably was going to be Umbreon. And I can tank Discharge here, or Thunderbolt in this case. And then I'm just going to farm up, and he stays in. So I'm going to go for the double up and self-piggyback. I have to shield a Thunderbolt this time. And I should have just used the energy earlier before having to waste a shield on that Thunderbolt. But it is Umbreon on the back, and I have some stored energy for this mirror match, plus the Bibarel. We're both at one shields here, so I'm in an okay situation. Just going to go with the last resorts. Not going to fool around with that shield baiting like last time. And then I let this one go through. I know I can survive one more there, but it sets me up that I am in range for a shield bait, and he actually is going to beat me to this foul play. I guess he won CMP there, so I'm going to shield this because that would knock me out, and then go for my own foul play. That would draw his last shield. And then I switch out so he can't farm me down. It was way too slow on that switch. I don't know why I didn't do it during the animation, but my great IVs on this Bibarel come through again as I survived that foul play and able to get to a surf and take the tournament. Glad I didn't have to rely on snarls between Umbreons to decide it, even if I did have a little more health on mine. Thanks again to Ghost Stadium Discord for hosting this because I wasn't able to make an in-person tourney back in November, and thanks for watching.